Hi, my name is Sumit, and I'm the founder of Merren, the platform that allows you to send out surveys through WhatsApp and other messaging services. Uh, I made this video so that I can get you started off with the product. So, what we're going to do in the next few minutes is we'll look at the Merren platform, we'll see how the dashboard looks like. We're then going to create a very short survey, maybe 3 or 4 questions, and then we will deploy that on WhatsApp and see how it looks on the other side. How do you answer a survey like that? All right. So with that, let's start. This is the login screen. You can access this using the link app.merren.io, and this is MERREN Merren. So app.merren.io. We would have sent you your login credentials. So simple, plug in your login credentials and login. This is what the dashboard looks like. The advantage of the system is that you can have like a multiple concurrent surveys running without one interfering with the other. So on this dashboard, what you see are all the surveys that you've ever created. So including the surveys that you have published and are live right now. So surveys that you have closed and surveys that you are probably still working on, which are the draft ones. You will also see the number of questions in each of these surveys and the number of
Great. So
responses
now
you have
we know
received
what
for
this
each one.
dashboard looks like. So what we'll do now is that we're going to go create a very short survey, and then we're going to create a link, and we'll figure out how to deploy this survey. We'll then go and see how it actually plays out on WhatsApp. So how can somebody respond to a survey like this? And eventually we'll come back to the platform to see how the data is captured in the real time. All right. So with that, what I'm going to do now is to create a very short survey, 3 or 4 questions. We'll start with somebody's name, this person's age. We'll ask for his favorite IPL team, and we will ask for the 2 teams that he thinks are going to make the finals of IPL this year. And the reason I'm picking these 4 questions is because the first question is a text question. The second one is a numeric question. Third is what we call a nominal question, which is a multiple choice question, but with a single response. And the last question is a nominal question again, a multiple choice question, but this time with more than one responses. So it will give you a sense of what different kind of questions there are, and how do you go about replying to questions like this. All right. So with that, let's go and let's set up the survey. So to set up the survey, you go to this button, create a survey, and you click on it. There are 3 options. You can start from scratch. You can use one of the templates that we have on the platform, or you can clone an existing survey if you had a survey on the platform already. All right. So in our case, we're going to start from scratch. All right. Let's give it a name. Let's call it a test survey. And let's choose a category. Let's call it marketing. And let's create this survey. All right, so on the left side, you'll see 5 tabs here. Uh, so this is essentially the workflow of setting up a survey, pushing it out, and getting data back. You start with the settings, which includes the language selection as well. You then go and set up the questions. You preview and test your survey, and you can deploy it, which basically means you generate a link, and we'll discuss how this link can be distributed. And then when the data starts to flow back in, we can analyze this data. All right, so that's essentially what the workflow looks like. So let's make sure our settings are in place. So we've got the name, we've already selected a category. If you wanted to select a language, so WhatsApp allows you for 60 languages. It supports 60 languages globally, of which I think 12 to 14 are Indian languages. We can support each one of these 60 languages. For a demo version, I have got 4 set up here. So let's select Hindi as well. So uh, the by default, a survey, you don't want your survey to be answered by same person multiple times. So by default, that's how the survey setting is done. If you wanted, you can allow somebody to participate more than once, which I mean, there can be some use cases where that's important. So you can actually set the number of times they can be allowed to answer. If you want, you can also allow somebody to answer unlimited number of times. All right. So that's our setting. Let's save these settings and let's go and let's set up the questions. All right. So we start with the section. You can actually divide your survey into multiple sections. It's easier for you to go back, edit an old survey if it's broken down into cleaner sections. In our case, it's only 4 questions, so we're not going to worry about that. So this is your questions tab. When we can go add a new element. So you can add a new question. You can use a question template. You can add new section, a subsection. So sometimes you want sections to have their own subsections, especially when you're branching and all. Again, we are doing a very short survey, so we are not going to complicate our job by adding sections and subsections. Or you can add a new message. So the difference between a question and message is an obvious one. For a message, you are not expecting a response back. So for example, if you wanted to start your survey with a logo, you can do that. You can go to add a new message, and here you can add an image. So in our case, I'm just going to use a Merren image and use this as the first message that we're going to send out. So it adds to the authenticity of a survey when if your logo goes out first. All right, so that's our logo. Or if you wanted to put in a message welcoming somebody, you can do that as well. Now let's go and add our first question. The first question being, what's your name? So hi, can you please, sorry, please tell me your name? All right, so that's our first question. It's a text-based question. You can decide on what the maximum or minimum length of your response can be. So in our case, it's a name. So typically, 4 or 5 words should suffice in terms of name. So even if somebody have a long name, they can add their name without any problems. Okay, so that's our first question set up. All right. Uh, the next question was about age. So one of the advantages of a system like this is because it's conversational. What you want to do is to make it a little more casual. So what you want to do is to make people feel like they are having a conversation. So in this case, what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull this person's name from the previous question and use that to welcome this person. So welcome. Let's add this person's name from the first question. So let's say, can you please tell me your age? And age is a numeric question. And here, if your target group is of a certain age band, so for example, you want responses only from people between 18 and 60, and you want to prohibit people from responding from beyond this range, you can actually put minimum and maximum values. So if somebody responds outside this range, then they'll be prompted to correct the answer. Right, so let's save this. And let's add our third question. Our third question was, which is your favorite IPL team? Let's do that. Okay, all right. We've done this before. So it's a nominal kind of question. So nominal is typically any question with labels is a nominal question. So in this case, it's a multiple choice question with a single response. So let's choose any 4 teams. Let's say my DC, RCB, let's say CSK. Um, you can choose all 8 if you wanted to. I'm being lazy. You can add an other as well. So if somebody chooses other, they'll be asked for the name of the team. So we're going to keep these 4 names and we're going to say others. All right, so let's save this. So we have our third question. The last question is, which 2 teams would make it to the finals? So typically the way it works is when you respond to a question, so when you have to choose a single question, So each option has a number. So the first option was Mumbai Indians. The second option was Delhi Capitals, for example. So if somebody wanted to pick up Delhi Capitals, they can respond by a two, and that's how you respond to a single response question. In a multi-response question, all you have to do is to separate out the responses by a comma. So if you wanted to choose one and two, so what uh, the customer needs to do is to just type 1 comma 2, and that will be a legitimate response. So and typically in a survey you should put those instructions as a part of the question. So let's add this question, which to sorry teams do you think will make it to the finals? To select more than one option, please separate out your choices using a comma. You can also give them an example. So, like I said, if you had to choose one and two, you can use that as an example and put it as a part of the instruction. So, in general, it's a good idea to do that. So, in this case, this is a nominal question. It's a multiple choice question, but we're going to allow for multiple responses as well. All right, so I'm going to go and enter the same four options that we chose the last time. So start with MI, TC, RCB, and CSK. I will add other as well, just to keep it consistent between the two questions. So that's our survey done. I'll also, while I'm here, I'll show you how the translation looks like. Okay, so uh, the translation is being picked up from Amazon APIs, so it does the heavy lifting of translation. So it's if you can see here, it's translated the question into Hindi and options into Hindi. Um, the translation APIs are not perfect, so you can go in and you can adjust or review or change the edit the text as you deem fit to make. All right, so that's our survey done. We've set up a survey for questions. We can go and preview it. This is a sandbox kind of an environment with an interface which looks like WhatsApp, but we're going to go and we will deploy it right away. So let's save this survey, okay? And we are going to create a survey link. Okay, so this is what the survey link looks like. So as you would see, it looks like a typical URL. There is, for a layperson, no difference between what this looks like and what a typical URL looks like. The only difference is that a typical URL, when you click on it, would open a browser and would open a website. In our case, if you click here, it will take you to a WhatsApp window instead of a browser. Uh, the other thing to keep in mind is that, like a typical URL, this can be distributed in exactly the same manner. You can send out an SMS, you can send out an email, you can distribute it via WhatsApp. You can put it in your WhatsApp, in your Facebook or social media ads. You can add it embedded in your website as well. So what we're going to do is I'm going to copy this link and I'm going to paste it on my browser window. So typically when somebody clicks it on their mobile, it will open WhatsApp on their mobile. When somebody pastes this, paste this on the browser window, like I'm doing it right now, it will either open web.whatsapp, which is the cloud version of WhatsApp, or like in my case, I have a WhatsApp application downloaded already. So for me, it's going to open the WhatsApp uh, application. All right, so here we go. We click on this, and it's opened a WhatsApp window for me. You'll see that there is this number. This number is a Merren number. So the advantage of the system is that you don't need a WhatsApp business account. You don't need a number that's linked to the business a WhatsApp business account. You can just use the Merren platform. It's completely plug and play. All you need to do is to come to the platform, set up your survey, generate a link, push it out, and you're ready to go. All right. So the other thing I want you to note is that you would see that there is a pre-filled in text here. This text is essentially a code that allows you to access the right survey on the platform. As I mentioned earlier, there are multiple concurrent surveys that you can have on your platform. So what this code does is that it takes the person who's supposed to answer the survey to the right survey. All right. So once I enter it, and it goes, so we'll see the two takes. If you recall, we had started with the language options and we chosen. So this system is used, as I said, based on APIs, and it's translated it into Hindi as well. And we can come back and look at that. So this should start the English version of the survey. It will of course start with the logo first, because that was the image that we added before the survey. As I said, it adds a little bit to the of the survey to start with the logo. Right. So let's start answering the first question. So it's asking for the name. So I've added my name. Now this name should be a part of the next question. That's how we structured it. So it's a little more conversational in the way now as a customer I'm perceiving this survey. So now let's try and put a value which is outside the prescribed limits. So if I were to put an age 65, which is outside the limits that we set, which was 18 to 60, the system would prompt me to reconsider my answer. So let's just put something in the middle. All right. The next question is, which is your favorite IPL team? And you can pick one of the 5 choices. Let's just pick 3. And for the last question, we had a multiple choice question with more than one response. And as I said, you can separate out your responses by a comma, and that's an acceptable answer. So with that, we've come to an end of our survey. I'll just quickly show you what happens when you choose Hindi as a language. So I'm just going to copy this code again. I can do the survey again because I had chosen unlimited number of attempts. So I can decide to do this again. So this time I'm going to start it in Hindi. It'll start with the image again, but the rest of the questionnaire, the rest of the survey should be in Hindi. All right. So that's how it works. Of course, I can't type in Hindi here, but the rest of the survey would run in Hindi in terms of at least the questions that have been asked. So let's go back to our Merren platform, and let's look at the data now. All right. So if you give it a minute, yeah, there you see. You'll see that the responses have started to build up in real time. All right. So this is the responses. So you can actually go change it to percentages. You can, if you wanted, you can also download the image as a PNG or a JPEG, whatever you prefer. You can download the whole data, raw data, as a CSV as well. So that's it for this video. I hope I was able to give you some overview of Merren, the platform, and how do you go about setting up your first survey, pushing it out, and getting results, and looking through the results. We will create some more videos. In the next, we will talk about things like other question types. How do you send and receive videos and audios and images? We'll also look at logics and branching that you can build into your survey. So I hope this was useful. It was enough for you to get started with your first surveys. So create your surveys, send it out to your customers. I really believe that this would actually help your customers come back to you with their feedback in a much more convenient manner. So my hope and wish for everybody is that they'll be able to connect more efficiently with their customers going forward. So that's it. Keep using the platform and stay tuned for the future videos. All the best. Thank you very much.